Hello everyone, this is Crystal Potthoff from Prayerful Arts, and today I'm going to talk about a question that I get asked a lot, and that is, how do I varnish my egg? And first off, sometimes I'll get the question, do I have to varnish my egg? And I would say, no, you do not have to varnish your egg. And in fact, if your egg is a full egg, I would recommend you do not varnish it, because varnishing it is sealing the egg, so you're sealing up all those pores, and that egg needs some air to dry out. And if you seal the pores, you could end up with an exploded egg in your cabinet or wherever you have it displayed. So if your egg is full, my recommendation is you don't varnish it. So if you don't have to varnish it, why would you varnish it? Well, here's an example. Here's one that is completed and it's beautiful. Do I have to varnish it? No, I don't. Here's one that I have varnished and it has a shine to it. And that's one of the reasons that I like to varnish the egg, is that it gives it a nice shine, in my opinion, a finished look, that it has that shine on it. What the varnish does not do, let's talk about that first. It does not protect your egg from breaking. I have tried different products. I even tried resin, and on the outside, the resin doesn't help it from breaking. Now, I know you can fill them with resin, and then I coat the outside with resin, and then it's very durable. I've done that on quail eggs. I've never done it on a chicken egg because it would weigh so much and would take a long time. So I don't do that. I have seen people who will coat the insides with resin. I don't have any experience with that, so you can do some research on that to see if maybe that would be an option for you. But the resin, the varnish, they do not protect your egg from breaking. The other thing they do not do is they do not protect from sunlight damage. I use a varnish for my completed Pysanky that has a UV protection, so it helps. But honestly, there is nothing that will 100% protect your egg from sunlight damage. So the best thing is, don't display it in direct sunlight. If you want to turn it, but it is going to fade if there's sunlight hitting it. And I had some in my house that I didn't even realize the sun was hitting it. And then I went to move them to put a different kind of decoration, and I looked at them like, oh, wow. And the sun was only on them for a little bit each day at parts of the year, but there were parts of it where the sunlight faded it. Anyway, so it doesn't protect it from breaking. It doesn't protect it from sunlight, although it can slow it down, but it doesn't stop it. What it does do is it gives it a nice shine. It does protect it from water damage. So if something, you happen to picked it up with wet hands, it would also, if you had something oily on your hands, it would, protect it from that, because it could be kind of wiped off. So it does do that, and it gives it a nice, like I said, in my opinion, a nice professional look. So I do varnish all of my eggs that I make and I sell. And in my class, when a person leaves, if their egg is completely done, we varnish the egg. And I'll show you how I have a video in how I make these things, but let me show you real quick kind of what we do. So I'll link the video for it, but I use a plastic cup, and I put some plaster of Paris in the bottom and a piece of foil wire, which is this, and it sticks up in the middle of it. And then we varnish the egg and we set it on that. You can put the lid on it and take it home. I have a video on how I make these, and I will post that later. But all of the eggs I teach with are blown out, and they all have one hole in them. So this process works best for that. So let's talk about different kinds of varnish that you can use on your egg. And there's a spray varnish. There's this stuff. You can use it. This works on, it says non-yellowing. oil acrylic or watercolor painting. So if you know you can use it on watercolor, you know it's not going to run. But you always want to test it on an egg just to be safe. This is something that you need to do outside. And for some of us, like myself, that live in temperatures where it's cold outside in the winter, we can't do this outside. Now, I have seen people set up like a spray booth with a box that they like spray this into the box, but you'll shake it and you have to put your egg on something. So that's where the foil wire comes in, and you can set your egg on the wire and you can kind of spin it and then use the varnish. You could also use a wooden dowel, and I've seen people put nails in a block of wood and use that, but you'll need something that you can kind of spin the egg around as you're spraying this stuff on it. Give it a light coat, let it dry. If you want to give it a second coat, you could. Again, you're going to have to be outside, because I've used this on my watercolor paintings and I always do it outside. So I don't do that in the wintertime. If your egg is full, I don't know how you're going to varnish it using a spray, because you have to have something to hold it up. So that is one way that you can varnish your egg, with something like this. The other thing that you can use is a liquid varnish. And you want to be very careful about these. I used to use this brand all the time. Minwax, fast drying, polyurethane. I quit using it because when I bought this one, after I bought it, I noticed it said warm semi-gloss. So it's got a yellow tint to it, which is going to make the egg look slightly yellow. So I don't want to use this anymore. But it is a polyurethane, which means that it is oil-based. Now, this one does not say oil-based on it, but it just says premium oil up here. So you want it to be oil-based. Now, I have found this brand, Varathane, here locally, and it is, again, polyurethane oil-based. If it says water-based, or if it says it is easy cleanup, or the other word you see sometimes is polyacrylic, do not use it. Those brands look like this. And the water-based means that it is easy cleanup. So that means if you put that on your egg, it's just going to run off of your egg. All your colors are just going to get washed off. You'll ruin your egg. You don't want to use anything that says water-based. If you're not sure, in this itty bitty print here, you can look to where it says cleanup. And if it says, this one says easy cleanup, use paint thinner or mineral spirits, that means it's oil-based and you can use it on your egg. And so this one is a clear satin. There's different kinds. Satin is not very shiny. I have another one that's semi-gloss and gloss, and I really prefer those. But when this one here, I could only get in the warm. This was the best I could find, but now I found a semi-gloss and a gloss. And it's really up to you, your preference. What kind of shine do you want on your egg? So these are what I use in class. There is a slight odor to them. So you want to make people aware of that there's an odor with it. And because when I tell them when they get home, they want to take the lid off of their varnish cup and let it dry overnight in a safe place. And then in the morning, it's dry. But if they're very sensitive to smells, they want to put it someplace where they're not going to be smelling it all day. Or if you have someone in your family that is very sensitive to that, you just know that there is a slight odor to these. So this is what I use in class. They're and if you're going to do this, buy the smallest one you can, because you're not going to use much. It's going to dry out before you use it all. Trust me on this. I bought the big jar once, and I didn't even use like this much of it, and it dried up because you just don't use that much of it. So anyway, so this is an interior one. I've also seen another brand that is an exterior one that does have some UV protection in it. So look around in your area. You might find something that works well for you. But just be aware there will be an odor with them. Now I'll show you the product that I use in my studio. So this is what I use on the eggs that I do in my studio. It's called One Shot Painters, and it's the Speed Dry UV Clear 4005. This stuff is very expensive, and this is the smallest jar that it comes in as compared to this, but this doesn't dry out. I keep the lid on it, and I've had this one actually for a number of years. I mean, that's how long it lasts me, and it's not dried out. So I keep it very sealed, and my lid's a little rusty because I kept it by the acid etch accidentally, but it's still sealed and it's still good. And when I open it up, it's clear, and you're going to see that when I go to varnish the eggs. So this is what I use. Again, you don't have to use this, but this one has a very, very strong odor. When I varnish my eggs, I crack open the window no matter what time of year, and I leave the room, and because it smells. And at my house, I can do that. Now, if you have pets, you're going to want to make sure that your room is, as much free from dust and pet fur so that it doesn't stick to your egg. Because people will say, well, why don't you just do it outside? Well, you can, but then you have to hover over them to make sure nothing flies on them like a bug or a leaf or something. So I don't do my eggs outside. I do them inside. For me, that's the safer place. I just have to deal with the smell. So let's talk now about actually putting it on your egg. So when you go to put the varnish on your egg with the liquid, this is the one time that I always remember to wear gloves. I always wear gloves, and that is how I clean it up. I take the gloves off. I just take them off and throw them away. I don't use a brush. I don't use anything like that, and you're going to see that. But if you're going to use your hands, wear gloves. It has to be latex free, or the gloves will disintegrate in the varnish, and you don't want that to happen either. So if you're using something like the wire or a bamboo stick, you can leave your egg on that to dry. You might want to put a little petroleum jelly, Vaseline on it so that it doesn't stick to it while it's drying. Or just every once in a while, give it a little nudge and spin so that it doesn't dry in one place and stick to it, like I had happen to me one time. So you want to do that. But if you do, and you can take those sticks and you can, I don't know how well I can show this. So you can take like a piece of floral wire and put them in that, stab it in here, and they can hold up your egg. This one on the other side holds for when I do my resining. But you could stick your whatever in there. I have seen people use bamboo sticks. I don't use them because the egg doesn't fit in it. It just barely fits in it. My hole isn't big enough for a bamboo stick. So make sure your egg your hole is big enough to fit that in there. So you could varnish it and set it on something like that. I have a drying rack. I got mine from Ukrainian gift shop, and it looks like this. It's a little yucky looking right now, but I also use this when I blow out my eggs. And it's it's a board with nails in it. It's very handy. I actually have 2 of them. So you can set them on this once you do that. And you're going to see me do that when I get ready to varnish these, because I usually wait until I have a number of them to varnish them. If you don't have something like that, you can make your own with 3 little thumbtacks. And I put this in the bottom of a bowl, and when I varnish the egg, then I can sit it on the thumbtacks and it will dry. You don't have to use a bowl. I would recommend you use something with a lip on it, just in case the egg rolls off. It won't roll off completely. So I could have put more in here, but I was demonstrating to someone how to do this. So 3 little thumbtacks and your egg kind of sits on it. It's the same concept as the drying rack. And that's how you would let your egg dry once you varnish it. Now, I do, like I said, I will varnish mine, and then I will set the timer to go off every 10 minutes, and I come in and I give them a little turn like that. I kind of pick them up and I turn them, because I don't want them to get stuck to the points, which, you know, if it happens, you'll just, when it completely dries, you revarnish that section. But you have to kind of go through that again. So to avoid that, you might need to turn it periodically. If it's your egg is over the wire or the stick, that's not really a concern. Okay, so I'm now going to varnish my eggs that I have sitting here, and you'll see how I do that, and hopefully that works well. Okay, so here's my one shot. I'm going to open it up, and you can see it's clear. Kind of looks like on camera there's nothing in there. I take my finger, I dip it in, I rub it in the palm of my hand, I pick up the egg, and I roll it around. And if I think it needs some more, then I just dab it on just like that. And then I set it down. And then I do the next one. You do want to make sure that your eggs are completely free from wax. So if whatever method you've used to take the wax off, you want to make sure that all the wax is off of it. The varnish won't take over the top of the wax. And I can tell you right now, I've only done 4, and I can already kind of feel the smell of this. I usually just give my eggs 1 coat. I find that that is enough. You can do it multiple times if you feel it's necessary. Or if you see you missed a spot. I usually don't miss spots doing it in my hand, because like right now there's goo all over my hands. Okay, so there they are. They're done. I'm going to put the lid back on this and take my gloves off and put this away. And then I'll come back every 10 minutes and give them a little turn like this. And then in an hour, they're dry to the touch. And then I usually let them dry 24 hours before I would move them or package them. Actually, I would wait 48 hours because I don't want the smell there when I go to ship them. So I hope this helps. This is what my experience has been with Varnish. You may have other experiences or have tried other products. I know there's other products out there. So please give me my comments, or consider joining the Facebook group, Prayerful Arts Pysanky. It's a private group where we can share tips and that on Pysanky and what we've learned, and share pictures and comments. But I will also work my best to reply to comments on YouTube as well. So Happy egging, everyone, and have a great day.